Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. Welcome to the Visible Technologies 2013 holiday season wrap-up. Well, we're real lucky today to have a presenter with us that has a ton of experience both in data analysis and also in, more specifically, social media data analysis. Tina McCorkindale is a part-time research analyst with us, actually. We're lucky to have her. But more importantly, she's a professor of PR at Appalachian State University. She's been working in social media for years now, doing social media analytics, has over 10 years of experience in general data analysis. But more than that, she gets a lot of real-world experience because of the roles that she plays with all kinds of organizations. So you can see she's a chair for the Public Relations Society of America Educators Academy. She's also a trustee for the Institute of Public Relations. And the other thing that's really cool, she's actually the associate editor for the Institute of Public Relations Social Science of Social Media Research Center. So you're learning from somebody that really does have a ton of perspective on social media. Tina?
Thank you. Hi, everybody, and thanks for joining us. So I'm going to cover sort of what we saw in 2013 and also compare it to 2012. So what we do at Visible is we pull all these terms and we develop what we call shopping keywords about how people talk about holiday shopping. And then once we get all this data together, we sort of scour forums, blogs, Facebook, and Twitter to pull all instances of this data. So then we can analyze these conversations. And what we want to do here is we really just sort of peel the onion back and look at sort of key things within the findings of holiday shoppers. Here we look at big retailers. We looked at shopping events, so around Cyber Monday, Black Friday, Thanksgiving, and last-minute shopping, and whether the conversation was positive or negatively sentimented, and also just finding these organic, very basic topics that people talk about. And what we'll do here is we'll show the data through charts and graphs, and then we'll also talk about key themes and also give you sort of a sample verbatim of that is very indicative of what we saw throughout our data analysis. Okay, so this slide here talks about what we saw the week of Thanksgiving. Now, if you remember this year, this was a really late shopping year compared to 2012. 2012 Thanksgiving was November 22nd, and this year it was November 28th. So it was a shortened holiday season. So as you can see in this trend analysis is for the week of Thanksgiving, there were 2.60 million posts for the overall holiday shopping season. And then you can see sort of the spikes of coverage and what it was. This year, there was a 48% increase in volume from 2012 to 2013, but that's not necessarily meaning that people are shopping more. It could just be that people are talking about it more on social media. And also, the spike could be due to people sort of feeling that crunch because of the late holiday shopping season. But if you look at this chart, you can see sort of it slowly creeps up until we get to Thanksgiving and Black Friday where we see a spike. Then it drops down the 2 days after Black Friday. And then Cyber Monday, we see that climb back up. But what's interesting about this slide is that Thanksgiving is becoming just as important as Black Friday for shopping and conversation. And we saw some negative sentiment around that as well, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Okay, so as you can see, this is the entire conversation regarding holiday shopping from November 1st to December 31st. And of course, retailers pull that back. I mean, there is, Christmas decorations or holiday decorations out since August. But there we see the spike. And then we have those last-minute shoppers the weeks before Christmas holiday to where people are talking more about the holiday shopping and also talking about sort of the expectations of the presents they're going to get or how excited they are about what they purchased for other people. And then I also included here some of the verbatims relating to the three major events, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and last-minute shopping, which was pretty indicative of what we saw throughout the whole process. And when we get up to the last-minute shopping, people also started to complain about presents not being delivered on time and expectations of bad presents that they thought they were going to get from their loved ones. Okay, so as I'm sure you heard in the media, not everybody was excited about Thanksgiving shopping or stores opening on Thanksgiving, and there was a lot of negative sentiment surrounding that conversation. However, I think what was interesting is that people still, in many cases, felt obligated to shop for their loved ones during this time period. So what we came up with were 4 sort of themes that we saw throughout the verbatim and conversations that people had surrounding Thanksgiving shopping on that day. 1, they refused to shop. Either they talked about boycotting the store for the entire holiday season or not shopping on those specific days. The others were a concern for employees and actually wagging the finger at the retailers for opening on Thanksgiving and depriving their employees of spending time with their families. And you can see that verbatim there, Target at Walmart. Greediness, that they thought the retailers were greedy by opening on Thanksgiving. And there was a small handful who were actually excited about starting their shopping after they eat their turkey for Thanksgiving dinner. So Black Friday drew complaints as well. People complained about a whole host of things, and I don't think this has changed, year to year. It's sort of the same themes that we see every year. But the 4 major complaints were long lines, physical discomfort, rude employees and shoppers, and sold-out items. And then I also provided some verbatim surrounding that. The long lines were a problem, and people also complained a lot when there were closed registers. That frustrated them, and many of them also took pictures of the long lines and shared it on social media. Physical discomfort, cold, lack of sleep, the sort of physical things that people sort of complain about, or waiting in line too long, or their feet hurt, or they were hungry. That was an issue with Black Friday. Rude employees, rude shoppers, pushy shoppers, that drew complaints, and also sold-out items, which drew frustration for many. Walmart, when they had some of their deals that were sold out, even though they did start to say that there is a certain number of items available at any store or a guarantee for a certain number of items, people were very frustrated by sold-out items. But overall, consumers did like the thrill and the excitement associated with Black Friday, especially when they had great deals. So Cyber Monday, of course, was very popular this year, as we've seen this the past few years. And there's definitely pros and cons to this event. The pros, of course, are the deals. People talked about some of the great deals that they found with Cyber Monday, as it's become sort of a typical event. Also, they could avoid the crowds and lines. They could order in their pajamas. They could just sort of wake up and shop from there, or even shop at work, which was beneficial. Multiple people said that it was frustrating because they couldn't actually see or touch the merchandise, especially when you have like clothing or home items that you would want to see versus more electronics. Sold out items, especially online, people sort of expected that they had this unlimited supply because it was online. And then a few consumers complained that the deals weren't as good as Black Friday, or they weren't really as good as they should have been for Cyber Monday. So what we've seen, and we've seen this happen the past few years, but it's still occurring, is that we're seeing sort of a migration from traditional to online, that more people are shopping online, even though many people, of course, still take in the traditional. But there's some reasons why they do it, or why they would prefer to sort of shop online, not just for Cyber Monday, but overall throughout. One, a lot of what we see the traditional, the brick and mortar retailers are offering online deals as well. And vice versa, that we see the online retailers also offering Black Friday deals. And we saw that with Amazon and others as well. And even some places were offering deals earlier in the week. People liked being able to research during the point of sale, and they thought that they had a greater selection online. Deals were great. They thought they could wait until the last minute, and the free shipping was really important for some of them. And I'll give you a second just to sort of look over some of the sample verbatims. So yes, and people love doing the research and being able to do that. One thing we'll talk about in just a few minutes is that sort of free 2-day shipping with Prime members that Amazon had. All right, yes, and of course Black Friday will continue to draw large crowds, and we'll probably even see that more pushed back to Thanksgiving. So what this chart does is it shows the percentage share of discussion in holiday shopping. And orange is for 2013, but what this means is that of all the holiday shopping discussion, so those 2.6 million posts, 2.8% mentioned Amazon in the discussion. And as you can see, Amazon dominated the conversation surrounding holiday shopping as far as the specific retailers. And that was an increase, of course, from last year. And they also dominated last year as well. But if you notice in 2011, it was fairly even between the top three retailers, Amazon, Target, and Walmart. But Amazon definitely dominated the conversation. Target, we saw a jump, but if you remember, people were also talking about the data leaks associated with Target releasing some customers' personal information. Walmart received a lot of flack for opening on Thursday for Thanksgiving, and people refused to shop there or even boycott the store. If you remember, for Amazon, Black Friday was an extremely busy holiday for them as well. Cyber Monday was their busiest day, and they were selling, if you look at their news release, they gave statistics for how much they were actually selling on Cyber Monday, and it was said that they ordered more than 37 million items worldwide, which means 426 items per second were being sold on Amazon. Amazon also had credit card deals, that Amazon Prime shipping into the last minute, but they also ran into problems with deliveries. And then Best Buy, we saw, was really the only retailer to see a decline. And if you read in the papers a week ago, they actually reported a decline in their holiday sales as well. Okay, so this slide deals specifically with Twitter. And the reason why we wanted to look at prominent terms associated with Twitter is because consumers sort of viscerally tweet about what's happening to them at the time versus looking at blogs and forums, which they're not necessarily in line with the retailers talking about holiday shopping to that extent. So as you can see, electronics were a major item that people talked about in regards to their holiday shopping. The PS4 and Xbox, Amazon reported that during the sales peak, they were selling at a rate of 1,000 per minute. So electronics were big. The Hunger Games was also very popular. People talked about going shopping and then going to go see the Hunger Games. Starbucks, people shopped and then went to Starbucks, especially the ones that are located in the Target. People talked about that as well. And then what I also wanted to provide some verbatims around sort of product-related and event-related. Those were sort of the two major themes we saw in tweets, that people talked specifically about products or different events, so Black Friday, Cyber Monday, watching movies, and so on. Okay, so here's a few prominent tweets of people talking about holiday shopping, and like Paula Abdul talked about it, Rob Delaney, different individuals talked about shopping, and just want to sort of give you a sort of a snapshot of what some of the popular individuals said regarding that. Okay, so what does all this mean, and what can we say about it? One, the shorter holiday periods mean a bigger time crunch. This year, we're going to have another short holiday season, which means people will probably wait until the last minute to do their shopping. But retailers will also, especially Amazon, reassess their shipping deals. Amazon had guaranteed their Prime customers 2-day shipping until December 22nd. Weather delays and just a tremendous increase in last-minute shoppers. A lot of people didn't get their gifts by Christmas time, and Amazon gave gift cards out and blamed UPS for a lot of the issues. And they also, so we'll see what happens. Actually, this morning, there was a story about Amazon getting a patent on anticipatory shipping, which means that trying to predict what people will order and send it to them before they buy it. So we'll see. We also see a lot of blending of different deals. So brick and mortar stores and online stores, both like Amazon, are going to offer deals on both Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And this data comes from the U.S. It's U.S.-based data. People will complain about Black Friday, and online shopping people were very happy about doing online shopping and not dealing with Black Friday, but people will continue to shop both for tradition and they enjoy it. But they will continue probably complaining about the crowds and long lines, sleep deprivation, and cold weather. And then even though people complained about Thanksgiving, it may become the norm if more people do it. So even though people said it was wrong, people still went and shopped on Thanksgiving. So what we wanted to do was sort of provide recommendations of what you can do in the future that was sort of the go-to is that when you leave this, you can sort of think, what can I do and how will this help me? One, social data is really great at sort of telling you what your consumers think, what they like, what they don't like, if there's closed registers, if there's sort of pain points, sold out items. You can even do geolocation to find out where are people talking about specific items, where are people more likely to complain about certain things. We also can look at the entire customer life cycle from even just awareness, the research phase, through the product phase to the post-purchase phase to find out what they think about it. And we can also find out about their behavior and so on. So social also helps because you can do a superior customer experience by finding about those social touch points that customers appreciate. So and that goes also back to the pain points. And social really does affect where people shop, what they buy, what products they recommend and talk about. But that superior customer experience can really help organizations help their customers and drive brand affinity and loyalty. Okay, and I think that's my part, so I'm going to turn it back over to Rich, and if anyone has any questions, I think he's going to open up the line, and you're more than welcome to ask some questions.
Yeah, if you do have any questions, remember, please use the Q&A in your WebEx or use the chat within your WebEx. But we do have a couple of questions that came in. One is a pretty straightforward one. What was the geographic scope of the analysis? So was this just the United States, or did you include Canada in this?
I'm pretty sure, as far as I know, it's the U.S. It was called to the U.S. And I apologize. I have a cold, so I try to mute it when I was coughing. So I apologize.
No, I think you're safe. We're all in the same boat. There's many of us that are fighting the colds now. Good. So we did have another question. There, I don't know if you saw it, but right around the holidays, or very, very, maybe between the holidays of Christmas and New Year's, there was some stuff out there in the press that said social media did not drive purchase decisions and really didn't drive a lot of, purchase activity for this last holiday season, but it was difficult to prove. So the question that came in is how do you look at that versus the fact that, it looked like tweeting volume and Facebooking volume and social media volume was up 25%? In your opinion, how do you reconcile those two things?
Well, I think what's interesting about social is people aren't necessarily talking about specifically their purchase behavior. So the conversation here was surrounding holiday shopping in its entirety. So when people complain about it, if they talk about presents they buy or what they would like for holiday shopping or going to a store, so it's not necessarily that we can take this data and say, this is what people are going to purchase, or because we have more conversation that's what they're going to purchase. Instead, what this does is it helps us think or find out what are people talking about in relation to holiday shopping. What are the hot items they're talking about? Where are they talking about it? What forums or outlets are they talking about it? And also the trends. So when are they talking about it more? Is the conversation more positive? Is it more negative? And those sort of things. But, and the other thing is we saw an increase from 2012 to 2013, but that doesn't necessarily mean that people are shopping more, online shopping. It could be that they're just talking about it more, or that in society we're just very used to, now we're becoming more used to venting our complaints on social media forums and outlets.
Great. Thank you for that. It was interesting, we were sitting here chatting while you were talking, thinking about the themes that came out of Black Friday, I believe it was Black Friday, discomfort, being out of stock, things like that, and we were all talking about, the long lines, and the question we came up with is what type of cookie would you like to have served to you while you're waiting in line at Walmart? But anyway, I think more than anything what that does, though, is it hopefully gets people thinking about what is their service that they're offering and trying to address some of the pain points of the market, right? And, some people may view the holidays as being very transactional, but I would venture a guess that, you know, if I'm treated real well during the holiday season when my employees are at their most stressed, I'm more likely to become loyal. So, you know, Tina, I don't know if you have anything to add, you know, about loyalty in the holiday season, but I did think it was kind of interesting and a good way of showcasing there were some themes that came out of this that could make people think about the way they service their customers a little bit different. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think that's exactly right. So if I'm looking at, you know, even tweets, and there was a really great KLM campaign where they would like listen to tweets and then bring sort of gifts to people waiting for their flights. And that was a very powerful campaign because you can find out sort of, excuse me, those touch points and find out what are their likes and what are their dislikes and say, you know, we want to give our customers the best and happiest experience for them because you have to brave crowds and cold and be able to do that by looking at their social because people are most of the time very honest on social versus what maybe you would get in a survey or some other sort of methodology.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. As we wrap up here, just a quick little description for those of you who may not know us, Visible Technologies. We are a social media monitoring and analytics platform. There are a couple of things that we really focus on that differentiate us. Number one is quality of the data, depth of the data, breadth of the data, really giving you access to all the data sets that you need, but also, you know, making sure that you're confident in that data. It's very difficult to make social media work for you from a systematic standpoint, and we think that we have the best data in the business. And then the other thing is just access to experts like Tina. Tina does consulting with us on very, very specific projects where she works with clients of ours to help work through really tough business questions and then understand how social can inform the decisions that need to be made around those types of questions, those business questions. So it was really good to have Tina on from a couple of reasons. You know, number one, she's an expert. Number two, you get a sense of, you know, the type of deep dives that we can do with some of our people. And that's what really differentiates us is those two things. So quickly here as a wrap-up, if you have a topic or an idea or another question for Tina or for anybody at Visible, you can send an email to info@visibletechnologies.com. You can get us on Twitter @Visible. Or, you know, on our website, you do have the ability to fill out a demo request or a contact us request there. What we're doing here is we're really trying to show you some of the insights that can come out of social media data. That's something that we really want to focus on throughout 2014, helping people understand what insights look like. And our next webcast will be addressing that, and we'll be in the mid-February timeframe. We'll get an invite out to everybody here in the next week or so. And it's going to be about integrating third-party data to increase your social media insight. Now, this is really cool stuff because you think if you're able to take all the social media conversations that were going on out there and then maybe take some of the primary market research that you have, maybe you did a survey, maybe you did some focus groups, and you've got all that in a position that you could upload it into a system to be analyzed alongside of the social data. Just imagine how much deeper and how much deeper your analysis will be and the types of insights that you'll be able to get out of it. And it's not only marketing data. You know, you could think about bringing in information about revenue in a particular customer segment in a particular geo and bouncing that off of the social data to try to create heat maps that would give you ideas to why things are moving in a certain direction. All kinds of opportunities. So we're going to be addressing that. We've got a quick case study for you in mid-February. So keep your eyes open for that. Well, anyway, that wraps it up. Hopefully this was an informative 35 minutes for you, 30 minutes for you. Have a fantastic week, and hopefully we'll see you out there in the social spheres here soon. Thank you again.